I'm sorry, not game design? I don't understand. Well, this all seems extremely normal. Not portentous of anything.
I don't know, to have the wherewithal to tell us that this is not game design anymore that is disturbing indeed.
I don't know, it was fucked up. He started saying that this wasn't game design. Doesn't make any sense.
There's many things that I can say about this game, but it is absolutely game design. It is peak game design in both all the right and wrong ways.
You cannot believe how much game design there is in this game. Oh, hang on a minute, we're having a breakthrough.
Wait, I thought he said... I mean, maybe I missed something, but I thought he explicitly was talking to Satoshi and was like, yeah, the cross-gear sense thing is working.
He said that the cross-gear is very impressive, but it can't compare to the real thing. And also that it sure is nice to walk in the world that I helped create. It's all, highly interpretive. But, yeah, it's Sergey who puts it together, but hang on a minute. This guy looks exactly like how I remember him from real life. Doesn't even have, like, avatar horns or anything. So yeah, that's, something. That's some kind of a detail, right? So yeah, this is technically a new day, so everybody's got new stuff to say.
Can we mix and match our party now? Or are we gonna be
We absolutely can.
Okay, so like we could take like Apollo and Trani, and then we would all want to die.
You'd think, right? Oh no. Why did we call him? But yeah, you can... I can't remember if it's right now that they allow you to do it, but we are definitely about to be able to do that. But I'm quite disappointed to find out that there is pretty much zero mixed and matched dialogue. So there's no unique Apollo Trani mechanic.
That seems like a giant wasted opportunity.
Right? That said, I have had it hinted unsubtly at me that this might be getting addressed in the DLC, and I haven't poked into any further detail, so I'm going to permit myself to get my hopes up. But, yeah. I would dearly love to have those two just play off each other, just mention some detail and just let nature take its course. It's kind of impressive how much he manages to come up with these on the fly. At least, it's some kind of a thing. So yeah, anyway, there's no real plot buffer here, you just go straight from one temple to the other. Well, almost.
Is this lady one of the capitalists? She looks like one of the capitalists.
Nah, she's got no faction affiliation. But yeah, don't worry about her. She's just Lucretia. There's something bothering me about her name, but I can't quite identify it. Oh well. Fortunately, she doesn't really factor into anything at all. She just hangs out in her office outside the temple. Don't mind her. So, yeah, in the lore of Crossworlds, Zervatar Temple is the power plant that powers Basin Keep. Presumably other places, I don't know how everywhere else gets its power. Like, I think Buckycombe has the solar plant. Who the hell knows about Rookie Harbour or Bergen Village? But it's all here and you can walk around it. For better or worse. There isn't anything there, it's just there. And yeah, by power plant, it's just an installation that happens to have an enormous energy output that's just there. Definitely nothing to read into any of this. So anyway, dungeon number 4. Or, like, dungeon number 3, part 2? I don't really know how you reason about this. Remember when we go through this that we could have done this one first, so this isn't really a difficulty increase over Sonai's, it's just it's an alternate path with fun new green elemental gimmicks. And also a profoundly satisfying bassline that's going to kick in a minute. So, remember these things?
Ah, I see.
What if hookshot? Except, what if we cross-coded the hookshot up spectacularly? What if hookshot, but with insane ricochets? What if hookshot, but puzzle? Also, we've got robot magnet chicken snipers. I got nothing.
I don't know how I should feel about them being so confused that you moved, like, a couple feet to the left.
Yeah, this is their gimmick. They have a sniper attack. They aim it at you, and if you teleport while they're doing it, they become very confused. I think the implication is they're, like, aiming down a scope, so they have, like, no peripheral vision. So it looks like you've just disappeared. Which is why it doesn't work at any other time. I hate the shot. I hate it. Actually, it's not that shot I hate, it's this one. Which, the timing window on it is like 0. You have to immediately make that second shot. And I hate it. Would it have killed them to let you go for one extra trip on the platform? Hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it.
Yeah, this is not great.
Fortunately, you only have to make that shot once. But don't move on straight away because there is this whole thing to go and get. And I don't know why I insisted on bouncing this off the back wall, but whatever. I'm gonna show off. Very important that you make the landing before you go up to get the chest, otherwise you'll have to make that shot again if you want to get back here. That would suck. Are you ready for a gimmick? Well, bad news, because this ain't it yet. But charging up the walls with green stuff will disable the lightning. Very briefly. Don't worry, we're basically never going to see that again. But what we are going to see again is this. We have an exciting new puzzle gimmick to try. And it's very important that we learn about it.
So the green ball hits...
Well, that's just it. When it hits what?
I'm not a... I mean...
How about when it hits anything?
And then it goes it just...
So, yeah.
Why does it... Okay, yeah. Why does it follow the wall and then continue in that direction, but when it hits the wall, it just goes straight through perpendicular?
That's just the thing. Is you've got to figure out exactly what's going on here. But fortunately it's not that complicated. When it hits a surface, it angles its direction of travel perpendicular to that surface. When it comes out of the other end, it does nothing, it just continues in that direction.
You know what? Same, Emily. Just no need to overcomplicate things.
Yeah, it will entirely suffice to say that Temple Mine is labelled as Cold Dungeon within the game files. And that's all we need to hear. Here are some electric plants. I think this is supposed to be a joke because they're power plants in the power plant, and that's funny.
Please, Fiddle, they're buff electric plants.
Absolutely. So yeah, now that we've done wave ball puzzles on easy mode, it's now time to start escalating. And we've got to not only get the phasing through wall stuff to work, but we've also got to do all the other fun stuff that we do with the elemental balls. Especially on the multi-level stuff. This place is kind of lousy with corners on walls that are real difficult to see sometimes. Like, I got up here and I'm like, wait, what does this get me? Don't understand.
Oh, I see it, but oh wow, yeah, that's a really shitty shot.
Yeah. And doesn't work from here, you have to... Okay, maybe it does work from there, but... You're actually supposed to fire that directly upwards, and it gets the torches on the third ricochet. It's a very fun time. So anyway, this is one of those times when I said in Sonai's Temple that this game really likes showing you the lights on the floor and then having you do the things in the order left to right, where applicable. So basically this becomes a hint. We want to do the fire thing, then the ice thing. because with this setup, we can make this shot. And once you get on this path, it all just kind of starts solving itself, really. Anyway, I believe we've talked about verticality in this game's dungeons before, and how it doesn't really factor in very much.
I have a bad feeling there's about the rest of this sentence is about to be, so what if?
Well, that kind of changes now. So, the deal was that Temple Mine is got a lot of flaws, but mostly they're all pretty self-contained. Pyro Temple has a great, invocation of vertical shape with its whole hourglass profile, but it's still pretty much you do the bottom half and then you do the top half, and the whole thing with the quicksand on the second floor is about as complicated as it gets. Sonai's temple is entirely one floor. This temple is pretty much the only really meaningfully vertical dungeon in the whole game. It only has 3 floors, but there's a lot of fucking around going between them. And there are a good couple of these teleporters, and this is the only dungeon in the game in which I've actually gotten, lost, actually lost. By the way, we can also teleport blocks now. This dungeon is going places. This is probably my favourite dungeon, by the way, I'm just getting this one out there. I'm leaving the opportunity open for the DLC one to top them all, because I'm hoping that they do mad flexing and make everything super convoluted, but don't know that yet. All told, I'm just really positive on Sonai's and Zervatar generally. Also, yes, I did not figure this out quickly. This is one of those times where the game just starts getting... I know I said that this wasn't technically a difficulty jump over Sonai's on account of you could do this one first, but I do think this one is just incidentally more difficult. Just because some of these gimmicks, they require you to embark on a little mind-bending. Think a little bit abstractly.
Yeah, these puzzles are just... These puzzles themselves are... They seem to be a lot harder than the ones in the Shock Temple. Even though it is... The combat seems less like ass, but...
Yeah, it's very much... It's a lot more puzzly in that it's just... Things are a little bit more difficult to figure out, even if the gimmicks aren't massively more complicated. It's not that Sonai's Temple didn't get complicated, it's just that, just because of how the gimmicks work, meant that thinking about them was a particular kind of difficult. Because there are, of course, a lot of ways in which a thing can be difficult.
Yeah, the general vibe I'm getting is that, this temple is an Oracle of Ages temple, whereas Sonai's was an Oracle of Seasons temple.
I wouldn't know. By the way, that button over there is on the same elevation level as we were, just getting that clear because I spent ages thinking that it was elevated. Just this game in its perspective. Anyway, yeah, I wouldn't know about the Oracle games, I kind of missed those. But yeah, CrossCode is kind of it is in a lot of ways like an actual puzzle game in how it approaches teaching you about stuff that's in puzzles, how it approaches having you solve puzzles, and how different people find different kinds of puzzles differently difficult. It's honestly kind of alarming. I should do more detailed analysis of this stuff sometime, but like, it's notable that when CrossCode is teaching you about combat, it's like, here's a tutorial, here's the tutorials, would you like to see the level 2 tech tutorial? Would you like to see the level 3 tech tutorial? Do you know how to do melee arts? Do you know how to do guard arts? Make sure to do this, make sure to do that. And then you walk into a temple and it's all like, here's a ball, get out of this room, go. It just suddenly transforms into something like The Witness. Have you noticed that? There is not a single tutorial.
Yeah, there does seem to be a lot less... I mean, I don't think hand-holding is necessarily the right word, but it does seem to take a...
No, but there definitely isn't any of it.
Oh no, there absolutely is not. It takes a lot more of a violent swerve into sink or swim than...
Yeah. It 100% becomes a matter of they put you in situations where you have no choice but to learn. Like rooms that you cannot leave until you've figured something out. And if you don't figure it out, then you are getting stuck. By God, you will stay in this room until you figured out how to do it. Speaking of figuring out how to do things, here is an enemy that we have to fight using the wave balls. It's not really very much of a proposition, but there'll be more.
Yeah, that wasn't so bad.
But yeah, like actual puzzle games with like puzzle genres, like The Witness. I have a quota for talking about The Witness when I talk about puzzles. Don't question it, okay? So like that game, different people will swear to you that different kinds of puzzles are easy and difficult, and everyone will have a different opinion about which is which. And that's just how you know it's a good puzzle game, frankly. For my part, I don't so much find these puzzles, like, difficult as much as I feel like it takes more effort to think about them, but I can still think about them. Whereas the stuff in Sonai's Temple is just like, I just looked at it and I saw the answer and I did it. And of all things, it was actually Fyro Temple that fucked me up the most. Also, figuring out exactly where to shoot here took me an embarrassingly long amount of time. I also managed to fuck up and actually go backwards. Like, this is not supposed to be a puzzle room, this is supposed to be like, look, there's one path, you follow the obvious path. But I managed to fuck it up. But I have now identified the correct room.
Now that one I'm actually curious about. Why did that first one shoot off the wrong way? Because that looked like that was a good shot.
It was, until it just barely clipped the wall that had a diagonal facing. Like, that's how these things work. They will always they always change direction when they touch a wall to go totally perpendicular. It is 100% about the direction that the wall is facing, and absolutely nothing else. No other geometric considerations come into it, other than phase directly through wall. And especially not the actual thickness of the wall in question. It just goes. And that's all there is to it. Also, I cannot believe there isn't a chest up here. Like, just put it right in the middle of the room. Also, yes, I fucked up and jumped down. Should not have jumped down.
Yeah, I dig these puzzles. These puzzles are probably my favorite in the game that I've seen so far.
Right? They're just such a good puzzle flex. I love them. And also, I'd be lying if I said I didn't also love how some people hate them, but that's just the whole puzzle genre comparison thing again. Anyway, these guys are great because they're basically puzzle enemies. Each one of the environments is like its own little puzzle. And you've got to figure out how to hit them, and then actually hit them while under fire. Which, by the way, is not easy. Unless you have a very tanky build and you remember that you can just eat damage, but we actually do have a tanky build, I just keep forgetting that I can just eat hits right now. Anyway, here's a puzzle. Can you figure it out? And by figure it out, I mean follow the wide lines on the floor. Because once you start seeing this... Yes, I have done that wrong, don't ask. Fortunately, it's not difficult to debug, so to speak. Anyway, the actual puzzle here is figuring out the timing with which you have to shoot these things. It's a little bit more generous than you might fear, but you do have to actually figure out a trick here.
Yeah, that was a lot more generous than I was expecting. I was absolutely planning on that having to be a simultaneous shot.
So anyway, at this point, the game offers you an opportunity to teleport back down to a floor below, and it's like, hey, do you want to go re-explore places again? And I am literally begging you right now, do not do that. Ignore that teleporter, just take the door to the left. Save yourself the pain. That's a really cool intro, by the way. They just fly through the wall and break the window and start shooting. Why? Who gives a shit? I don't know how, like, the fact of the window plays into the whole instant stuff. Like, in both this one and Sonai's, we can see out through windows. So I'm like, are we actually looking out through a window into the rest of the playground, or is the view also instant per player? So many mysteries. Anyway, we have a key now. I probably could have taken a shorter route, but I was playing this under the implied time pressure on account of the dungeon race conceit, and I didn't think to take a very careful, considered look at the map. That's right, I'm still annoyed about this. You didn't think we were going to get through this without fighting some cats, did you?
That's extremely unfortunate.
Right? Fortunately, we don't escape unscathed. The kiddies do get to have a say. But only a little bit, though. So one way in which this does differ from Sonai's is that there's no branching of the tutorial stuff. like, so noise is very much, here's the branch where you learn about magnets, and here's the branch where you learn about manipulating this orbiting bullshit. No such separation here.
Emily is extremely pumped to punch some ghosts.
I wonder how much of that dialogue was based on feedback from players. I feel like I want to say that the early access the early access chapters they released only went up to a certain point, and that this is beyond it. So I don't think we're seeing I don't think there was a huge amount of player feedback on specifically this dungeon. But I'm pretty sure if there had been, then they would have basically said that. Because these things are a tiny bit of a mindfuck. Just a bit.